When we think about divorce, we often imagine it as a clean break, a chapter closed neatly in a book. But reality is far harsher, especially when children are involved. This is my story, not of love that refused to fade, nor of hatred that devours, but of boundaries, betrayal, trust, and the painstaking process of letting go of a past that refuses to die quietly. My ex-wife tried to manipulate me through our daughters. At first it sounded absurd, but imagine it. A call at 3 in the morning, my chest tightening, my stomach twisting, as someone tried to awaken guilt in me through the people I love most in the world. I couldn't remove her entirely from my life. We had 2 daughters, and shared custody meant our worlds were permanently intertwined. Every encounter felt like walking on a glass bridge suspended over a canyon. One false word, one lapse, and everything could shatter. I realized then how fragile trust really is, and how easily it can be annihilated. We married very young, just 20 years old. Before that, we had dated for 3 years, long enough to believe in love, but short enough to miss the warning signs. Our daughters were born within the first year of marriage. Soon after, she experienced complications that made it nearly impossible for her to have more children. I didn't dwell on it. Relief and gratitude outweighed any selfish thoughts. She was alive, she was there, and our daughters were healthy. That was what mattered. The marriage lasted 9 years. It ended the moment I discovered her betrayal. Infidelity is a poison I cannot tolerate. I cannot allow someone else's choices to force me into suffering. That moment when the truth hit me like a thunderclap in the middle of a quiet room, my love for her disintegrated. Not anger, not hatred, just an empty, echoing hollow where my heart used to beat. The issue was, I had let go, but she hadn't. Her family, her whispers, even our daughters, whether knowingly or not, tried to pull us back together. Every suggestion of reconciliation felt like a knife twisting deeper. I had told everyone countless times, I will never go back. And yet hope is a stubborn weed, and the world seemed intent on cultivating it around me. Then Clara appeared. We had known each other for 4 years, sharing hobbies, confiding in each other's secrets, a friendship that felt effortless. Slowly, friendship became love. It was terrifying and exhilarating. Fear of betrayal coiled alongside the exhilarating sense that maybe my heart could be whole again. At first, my daughters barely knew anything about Clara, but then they began noticing strange questions at awkward times. Who is she? Why is she here? Their eyes searched mine for answers I couldn't ignore. Accusations followed. You're doing this to hurt Mom. They repeated these questions, not maliciously but desperately, as if trying to negotiate reality in their small hearts. I explained, pleaded, reasoned. I will never return to their mother. But the world I had tried to build was fragile. Fragile against years of manipulated truths and subtle insinuations. My ex played her part carefully. She told them she was faithful, feeding illusions that a reunion was possible. I begged her to stop. I reminded her again and again that using the children as weapons only hurt them. But it was like shouting at the wind. My words vanished, leaving only confusion and frustration in their place. I considered seeking sole custody. Courtrooms, lawyers, negotiations. But the thought of subjecting the girls to that chaos made my stomach churn. Trauma would deepen. Their innocence would be fractured. So I held back, bearing the burden silently. We turned to a psychologist. Early sessions were tumultuous. Tears, shouting, trembling voices. Questions fired like arrows. Why did she betray you? Why can't you be with her again? Each answer required balanced truth without cruelty, reality without fear. I watched their faces twist in confusion and sorrow. At night I lay awake wondering, how do I help them understand reality without breaking their trust? Slowly, over months, they began to understand. Clara was part of our reality. She was not an intruder, not a substitute, not a threat. She was family. And then came a moment I had scarcely dared imagine. Clara, with my daughters, orchestrated a surprise. She proposed, a private, intimate dinner. Tears blurred my eyes, not from pain, but from joy so profound it shook me. We are now expecting a child, and my daughters cannot wait to welcome a baby brother or sister. They laugh, plan, and dream pure, unfiltered hope. For the first time in years, the past feels truly behind us. The second story is darker, but no less revealing. Once, I returned home early and discovered my ex-girlfriend with my cousin. I was frozen. Rage, disbelief, betrayal. They swirled inside me, tight and burning. Sleep became impossible. Eating felt like a betrayal of my own grief. I cut all contact. Silence became my shield. Years later, they invited me to be a groomsman at their wedding. Fury erupted at the thought. I considered refusing. But then I realized I needed closure. I needed to prove to myself I was not broken. I wrote a speech, every ounce of pain and anger transcribed into words, a ritual of release. At the wedding, I spoke truthfully. I named events as they were, looked them in the eye, and then walked away. The room was still. Relief, not vengeance, coursed through me. Reclaiming my strength mattered more than temporary satisfaction. Therapy continued. I learned to accept the past, release its grip, manage my anxiety, and rebuild my self-worth. Grudges weighed me down. They were chains I no longer needed. Revenge is a fleeting comfort. Healing is a lifelong endeavor. What I have learned is this: life demands boundaries, honesty, and release. The past may loom like a prison, but through therapy, open communication, and time, we can foster healthy relationships with our children, partners, and ourselves. Temporary satisfaction from revenge cannot compare with the profound serenity of acceptance, stints, honesty, and genuine love for those who remain. Even now, moments of doubt creep in. Shadows of old grief linger in my mind. Yet I am stronger, steadier. The daughters laugh, Clara smiles, and our unborn child kicks softly within me. Life moves forward, even when betrayal once threatened to destroy it. And in these ordinary, quiet moments, I finally understand. Peace is not the absence of pain, but the triumph over it. This story is far from perfect, but it is real. It is messy, painful, beautiful, and true. And for anyone who reads this, who carries their own burdens of betrayal, heartbreak, or manipulation, you can survive. You can build a life worth living again. It takes courage, time, and honesty, but it is possible. From the daughter's perspective, the confusion was overwhelming. Why does Dad look so sad sometimes? My eldest would whisper to her sister, eyes wide with the intensity of someone trying to decode a world they barely understand. They had loved their mother unconditionally, and yet every new piece of information about her betrayal was a puzzle piece that didn't fit. Nights were spent lying awake, hearts pounding trying to reconcile the loving image of their mother with the painful truths they had been fed. Clara, meanwhile, moved with the grace of patience itself. She never forced connection. Instead, she allowed the girls to approach her in their own time, answering questions gently, never speaking ill of their mother, never replacing her, just existing as a new constant. I watched as the slow alchemy of trust began to work. One day, the younger daughter asked shyly, "Can you teach me to cook like you do?" And in that moment I saw it. My daughters were beginning to see our blended family, not as a threat, but as something real, something safe. Even with progress, there were regressions. A passing remark from their mother, a subtle insinuation that I might change my mind, could set them back days. I learned to sit with their confusion, to validate their feelings, yet remain unwavering in my truth. I would never return to their mother. The struggle was not mine alone. It belonged to all of us, and we faced it together. Then came the proposal, orchestrated by Clara and aided by the girls in secret. Watching them plan in whispers, giggles, and conspiratorial smiles, I felt a surge of gratitude. Clara turned to me during the dinner, eyes shining, and asked, "Will you let us make you happy?" I couldn't speak, only nod, tears breaking free. The girls hugged me tightly afterward, whispering excitedly about names for the baby. decorating the nursery in their imaginations. The past, which had loomed like a storm cloud for years, finally felt distant. From my own perspective, every step had been a test of endurance. Every encounter with my ex-wife was a reminder of the betrayal I had endured. Every whispered comment threw the girls a temptation to anger. Yet, in surrendering the desire for revenge, in seeking therapy, in loving Clara and guiding my daughters with honesty, I discovered something stronger than rage. A resilience I hadn't known I possessed. I learned that healing isn't linear. That trust is painstakingly built. That love can emerge again, even after betrayal threatens to shatter your heart. And most importantly, I learned that the present laughter of children, the smile of someone you love, the quiet moments of hope is more real, more vital than any shadow of the past. Our story remains imperfect, full of pain, mistakes, and scars. But it is real. And in that reality, there is power. There is healing. There is the promise that, even after darkness, life can be reclaimed. Love can bloom again, and peace true, enduring peace can finally take root.